Somikazi ukhona? Somikazi uyasiva?
Yes, ndiyakuva sisi, uyandiva wena?
Yakuva kakuhle. Mandikubulise sisi, nikwamkele enkqubeni, ndibulele kakhulu for taking your time and having this conversation with us. Ndiyabona uba into nawe nale conversation inento nje ebhidisayo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ndiyabulisa kuwe and listeners. Igama lami nguSomikazi Khechane from Emthunzini Guest House eNgcobo.
All right. Okay, masiqale ke sikunike an opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself and your partners and, how did you guys start this business?
All right. The business was actually established by my late mother in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And so she established the business and then she passed away 2015. Mm-hmm. And Mnake, as the firstborn and the oldest, I was thrown into the deep end and had to take on the business. So bakhona abantwana basekhaya abayi-2 who are younger than me. Hence, I am a co-owner of the business. I just, as the oldest, run and manage everything around it.
Now, did you get an opportunity, mhlawumbi, to ask questions, inquire as much from umama when she was still around? Okanye, were you involved even at that time? I'm now wanting to talk at the level of a transition. Bazange benzima nala transition, now you're taking things over.
To be honest, it was. Umama was always into a business, and I'm cool in terms of a business. But it was not this type of business, hospitality. Umama had done many other businesses, and I was one of those kids where, I would stay home. So I'd always been around into a business. But a guest house, to be honest, was very tricky because at the time, Umama had established the guest house. So I wasn't around. I just, I wasn't married then, but I was with me and I'm now, who was not my husband then. I was already establishing that part of my life, so I wasn't home as often as I used to. So having to take over any business, honestly, was it was a shock. And also death was unexpected. There was no time for her to even share and say, okay, Mdanam, this is what we do. This is I had to figure it out myself. I had to continue with the travel agents and everything without any knowledge, having to go through emails and teach myself. And so it was a little bit tricky, but I got the hang of it. I guess into a business,
wonderful. And okay, now let's talk about the hospitality itself. So ZZB services that you offer Emthunzini Guest House primarily.
All right. Emthunzini, we have uncapped Wi-Fi for all our guests. So without the internet, you can't do anything. Exactly. So we've got uncapped Wi-Fi, we've got DSTV in all our rooms. Zongi bed we have electric blankets. Yes, Eastern Cape, we know, especially in winter. So we made sure that our guests are nice and warm. We've got a security company for safety as well that is on standby 24 hours a day. In addition to that, Sinayu watchman who's on the property overnight, just to make sure there is somebody physically there to also keep guard on safety and more. We also offer, we have an inverter for load shedding, for example, just to, it cases that was very comfortable even during load shedding. And those who are there for Umsebenzi can continue with the connection of the internet and still do their work.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, in terms of the other aspects, such as do you cater dinner, bed and breakfast? Do you have halls, or is it just accommodation?
It's just accommodation at the moment. We used to offer emails before COVID, but after COVID, I stopped offering emails. So for now, it's just accommodation. Even with the conference, we used to have a conference room, which we then later converted into one of our bedrooms because I found the demand your rooms was much more than just a conference room. Yeah. So we currently do not have the conference care anymore. It's just accommodation.
Accommodation. All right. And when you are dealing with your guests, what are some of the strategies that you implement to ensure that they feel at home? They don't feel like they're just in some, most when you're away from home, now you especially from the comfort of your own home. It doesn't matter no home means what. It means different things to different people. But with space you don't want to feel that coldness, that loneliness.
Yes.
So how do you implement strategies to
Sure.
ensure that at least guests feel welcome and comfortable?
Okay, so like I mentioned with backup here, we do have an inverter so that during load shedding our guests are still comfortable. We do have a challenge yamanzi eNgobo as just a community nje yaseNgobo. So what we do at Emthunzini is I purchase amanzi. So even if I work amanzi from KwaMasipala, I always make sure I buy amanzi so that the guests get value for their money. Or not have a cup of coffee because akho manzi, even though there is not a problem yaseMthunzini. The problem, yes. So I make sure that it gets Emthunzini, gets value for their money. You are comfortable, you have your water, you have your electricity. And also my staff, I make sure they are trained and able to communicate and help, even if it's not, for example, it was like helping your guests with luggage. That's not necessarily their job, but it's a nice thing of a guest house for somebody to say, can I help you, Buddhi? Can I help you, Sissy, with your luggage? So I teach you stuff some also just to go the extra mile for our guests.
And what are some of the challenges that you say you face? I'm thinking now in the context of Meleyo, who is having this idea in their mind and they want to roll it out so that it's just a bed of roses. What are some of the challenges that one can be aware of that come with running a business such as this?
The biggest for me, like I'd mentioned, indoor load shedding is one, but air mines is even worse. I think indoor load shedding, at least nobusukapi in the country, but there will be load shedding. But indoor mines is not something that everybody understands because not everybody comes from areas in the around the country that struggle with mines. So Indian is really, really difficult. Like I'm saying, by yes, Watenga, but you can imagine if I'm having to buy about 10,000 liters of water every second week, it's a lot of money in terms of the cost of running the business. But at the same time, it's a necessity, Also, Ngobo is a small town. We have struggles of networking. Sometimes the network I could be for the whole day, which is why for us Emthunzini Wi-Fi was critical. So that even if you're making a phone network, but at least you are connected to your internet. And then the other things are just things which I feel all South Africans are struggling with, like our roads. It's not nice one director to our guest house, keep potholes. But those are things I don't have control over,
They're out of your control.
So the location, like I'm saying, it's a small town, service delivery is still a challenge, and those things affect even Nat as owner business,
True.
But we do the best we can. We can.
Yeah. Looking at the business and Ujonga projector in the future, are there growth dreams, prospects that you have? To expand it, to grow it. Are you always fully booked? Like always, like yeah.
Okay, let's start with the expansion. I am hoping that in the future, Singapore has new branches, and I'm actually looking at the smaller towns around the Eastern Cape. My PE. I would love to open other branches as Emthunzini in the smaller towns, where there aren't many guest houses and B&Bs. So you find when they're in those towns, maybe is placed, let's say, for work. But because they are struggling to find accommodation there, and has to drive every single day, to the guest house. So I'd love to expand to other towns. So
booking?
what is the other question? Oh, the bookings. Yes, we are quite busy. During the year, it's mostly companies, it's mostly departments, it's mostly andabaze ngomsebenzi. And then December weekends, it's your walk-ins, Baba Funa's Kupa for the weekend, or you're just driving past where they just want a place to sleep over. So we get a lot of walk-ins over the holidays and weekends. But during the week, we are almost always fully booked due to companies and the departments.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really good. And lastly, as we wrap it up, what advice would you give maybe to people who want to run their own guest houses in rural areas, especially ngale ndlela uyibeka ngayo, but that's where your heart is. Because I think there's a way of doing it, for you to do it right, especially in a rural space with all its challenges. So what advice would you give someone who's interested in starting out in that space?
Me, first of all, it's resilience.
Okay.
You really have to be resilient when you are building a business. If profits are not going to show very early because there are expenses. And for you to see your business grow, you need to spend and put money in it before you will enjoy and reap the rewards of the business. So for me, really, resilience is very, very important, and patience to really tell yourself that, yes, there will be times when business will be slow. There will be unexpected things. For example, COVID hit us in a, which we never expected. But through that, I told myself, but it's fine. This is our COVID is later, and we're going to continue and build the brand again. So it's really the patience and resilience in business is critical. Before profit and enjoy the profit, that actually comes much later. It takes years to build a proper business.
Wow, that's wonderful. How do we connect and contact Emthunzini Guest House for supporting the business, for bookings, for how do we find you guys?
Okay, I'm always available on my phone, either through a call or a WhatsApp. The number is 071 875 8461. Mandipinde, it's 071 875 8461. We also have a Facebook page, Emthunzini Guest House. The email address yetu is Emthunzini Guest House 404 at gmail.com. So I also accept emails. A lot of bookings will come through emails, especially companies and departments. They send the bookings about through our email. So I constantly checking the emails is it. And I'm always available on my WhatsApp. You can send a WhatsApp anytime of the day. If I hear my phone ring up so good, because I know Omnium is traveling, through town, at midnight, they need accommodation. So ndilala ndicimele with one eye because I'm always aware about exactly. Fonia must always be available for the guests who need accommodation. Wow. So that's how you get hold of us.
All right. Somikazi, thank you so much, Sissy, for your time and finally being able to successfully have this conversation with us. Yes, I'm sure, Umpulabule Kaya has learned something from how you guys are doing your business. I cannot, I think it's so interesting the fact that Ninazone electric blankets that you don't get in non-rural guest houses. I think that's hard for me, and I think it's about knowing, your area, your space, and also knowing how you are wanting to position yourself to show no matter you truly care and you think things through when it comes to your customers, which is really amazing. Thank you so much, sis.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Namdia, for the opportunity to share with your viewers and your listeners. Thank you so much.
All right. Awesome.
Yes,
Mpulapulu Wefugari Community Radio. Interesting.